Hi everyone, and welcome to TWF Monday Night Raw, or Monday Night Raw. I, Tony Schiavone, here with Pat McAfee, and with Wade Barrett. And today on Monday Night Raw, this will be Father Yule's last Monday Night Raw or Monday Night Raw, since Yule is coming up, this Thursday. So this will be the last Yule you'll see Father Yule or Santa Claus on for some time. Yes, that's right, Tony Schiavone. Yule's coming up this Thursday on Looking the Birth of Jesus, and this will be Father Yule's last Monday Night Raw. And we wonder what he says or what he's going to do here today. Well, I can tell you one thing, Wade Barrett says. He's always about giving gifts out on Yule. He's always about knowing someone's awake and when someone's asleep, if someone's been bad or good. Really, I don't know why it should be any of his business, why he should know any of those things. Well, for some grounds, Wade, God and Jesus gave Father Yule, Santa Claus, that insight. And they most likely trust him with it, or they wouldn't have given it to him. Yeah, well, one of these days, that oversight, that insight's going to get him in a bind one day. Ho, ho, ho. Happy Yule, everyone. It is I, Santa Claus, Father Yule. And yes, this will be my last Monday Night Raw, or Monday Night Raw, before Yule. Yule happens on Thursday. So most likely, that will be it. When I start going around, flying around half the world, because Western Christendom does Yule in the 12th month, and Eastern Christendom does Yule in the 1st month. So yeah, I'm only flying to half the world in one night, and flying to the other half the world in another night. And as far as my good or bad list goes, well, I don't really know why I have that list to begin with. It's some insight that God and Jesus gave me. But all of those folks, everything they said or did that was wrong is forgivable. Now, I know that over the years, some folks have scathed me for all kinds of things. Like, oh, why do you know when someone's awake or someone's asleep? Well, that's all I know. I know, alright, they're awake, that's it. I know they fell asleep, that's it. Oh, as far as being bad and good, God and Jesus gave me that insight too, but that's all I know. And then folks out there getting irked at me because I have to come into the house, to give the gifts, because there's no other way that I can do it. They're like, oh, you coming into someone's house, and giving them gifts. Well, you shouldn't do that. And you need to ask yourself, you'd be like, well, tell me, is there any other way that I can get in the house and put the gifts underneath the Yule tree? is either going down through the smokestack, through the fire stead, through the lead door. And if there is some other way, let me know. Well, oh great. Guess who's here, Tony Schiavone says. Shit, it's the last head. It's the Rock. First off, Santa Claus, you didn't tell me you were going to be coming around. That's kind of sad that you didn't tell the seatmen of the TWF leadership team. You didn't tell me that you weren't going to be coming around. Well, I've been coming around, Rock, ever since from the 11th month going into the 12th month. Maybe you weren't. I forgot to tell you, I didn't have to run that past you. Yeah, I think you did have to run it past me. You know, don't get me wrong, a lot of folks do like what you do. Yeah, you do like to go and give out gifts on Yule. But there's so much that folks would scave you for. You know, the whole breaking into someone's house, you know, to put gifts underneath the Yule tree, knowing when someone's been awake or someone's asleep, bad or good. Well, now, you know that I gotta come into the house to put the gifts in, right? And you know that either the main ways I do it is either through the smokestack, through a firestead, or if the house doesn't have a smokestack leads to a heater instead of a firestead, then it's through the lead door. And as far as when knowing someone's awake and someone's asleep, that's all I know. And being bad or good, I don't even know why I even got that insight, but God and Jesus gave that insight to me, and I work it wisely. And I know all those folks, their sins are forgivable. Yeah, well, if anybody wants to see me lay the smackdown on you, that would be so great. You know, it'll be so great, you know, to watch me lay the smackdown on you. And that's going to hold it right there. Oh no, it's God Jorah. You know, Rock, you think that being on the TWF Board of Overseers, you somehow think that that gives you sway to be a bully, or a creep, or a heel. Well, it doesn't. And you know, I could smoothly go tell my sister, the foresitter and head leadership wicker at the TWF Astronomer, what you're up to. Hell, I could go higher than her, and I could go tell the head leadership wicker of Korska Wealth Team and the half-owner TWS Xena about you. Is that so, God Jorah? Well, let's talk back about our little wars we had in 20-0, when I beat you every time we fought. Yeah, for over the Ender Lambody winnings. Yeah, I hadn't forgotten about that one, haven't I, Rock? Hold it. You two got some bad blood going between each other, and I was quite aware of that. But here's what I think. Don't worry about it, Father Yule. He's not going to do anything, God Jorah says. He's all talk. That's what he's good at. You know, he's good at, running his mouth off, behaving as if he's the king of the slights. You know, he likes to go around, and behave that if he thought this world was real, he could kick all of our rears. Yeah. And I know, Father Yule says that you are only behaving this way because you're upset that you might not get the good gifts this year, Rock. And you should be ashamed of yourself because it's greater to give than to get. And you're going to get Jesus as a gift. And that's a gift that all mankind and all womankind got, knowing if they believe it or not. Alright, players. Hi, Father Yule. So, Rock, you came out from underneath that stone you've been hiding underneath. Or was it your cheap workstead? And so, you and God Jorah want to have a war? Well, I say here today on Monday Night Raw, we will see God Jorah, King of the Fiends, take on The Rock, formerly the Folks Fighter, now calling himself the Last Head, like it's some kind of film game or something. Now, can you believe in that? Can you holler, that player? Yeah, you should be ashamed of yourself for how you're behaving. Well, it looks like Santa Claus, told The Rock off, but being scathed by Santa Claus or Father Yule is most likely not a big deal for him. Tony Schiavone says, no, it's truly not, Pat McAfee says, because The Rock's mind is he's not frightened of getting Blackstone in his stocking at all. He thinks that he's greater than everyone else. I don't know why. But now he's acting like a dirtbag. Pat McAfee says, he's not behaving like a dirtbag at all. He's the Folks Fighter. He's the Last Head. He's the Brahma, whatever that is, Wade Barrett said. Yeah, and he's a smeghead. Pat McAfee says, that's what he is. He's a smeghead. And he thinks he's smoothly going to beat God Jorah, King of the Fiends. He can have another guest coming, Pat McAfee says. 1, 2, and a kick out. Well, Tony Schiavone says, The Rock fight could smoothly beat God Jorah. It's a throwback to their war that they had between each other in 20-0 for the TWF Inter-Land Body Winnings when that was a thing, Tony Schiavone says. Yeah. And Tony Schiavone says, and I guess you're right, you scathed The Rock by calling him a smeghead, Pat McAfee, because that is what he's behaving like. He is behaving like a creep right now. It's a more kinder thing to call him than what you would have called him, Tony Schiavone says. And now God Jorah is now going to do his offshoot of it. It's called the Tail Down, Tony Schiavone says. Well, I called him a smeghead, Pat McAfee said, because it was more kinder than calling him a shithead or a fuckhead, And right now, God Jorah is, making The Rock wish that he didn't come out and do the shit that he did to Father Yule. And now, The Rock just did it and he knocked down God Jorah, Tony Schiavone said. Give me a toll! Give me a toll! Oh, no. Oh, shit. He's pulling out something now. Uh-oh. He's got a song box, Tony Schiavone says. If he does this, the match will be thrown out. It's not a song, it's not a war. Why they got that in the ring for? Bloodway rule, Bloodway oversight match. Oh, so now he's making a match as he goes now, Tony Schiavone said. Yeah, that's what a smeghead like him would do, Pat McAfee says. Make the matches as he goes. That is what folks like him do. Well, the fight, is Varya going to uphold that oversight or not? Oh! And he wanted to hit God Jorah with it, Tony Schiavone said. And insight would have happened if he would have hit him with that song box. What would have happened? Pat McAfee says, it ain't good, Tony Schiavone. Whoa! And someone needs to get that out of the ring. And now The Rock's like, what did you throw that out of the ring for? You put that back in the ring or I'll have you... Oh! Well, now he's threatening the fire folks now, Pat McAfee says. Yep, he's being a smeghead all over again. And the Godzilla Stunner, Tony Schiavone says. The Godzilla Stunner. Yeah, Pat McAfee says. The Rock is down for the reckoning now. We just gotta get Varya to reckon 1, 2, 3. Pat McAfee says, no, Wade Barrett says, you can't do this to the Folks Fighter. You can't do this to the Last Head. You can't do it to one of the followers of the TWF leadership team or the board of overseers. You can't do that. 1, 2, 3. Ding, ding, ding. Here is your winner. Godzilla. And now Godzilla, or Godzilla, whatever you want to call him, he has won his match, here today. He's won his match here today on Monday Night Raw or Monday Night Raw. And the other thing someone wants to ask themselves, what was he thinking? What was he thinking when he brought that song box in the ring and thought he was going to hit Godzilla with it, and then thought he could get it to be a bloodway oversight match, Tony Schiavone says. The truth is, I don't know what he was thinking at all, Tony Schiavone says. Yeah, well, he's a snakehead, Pat McAfee says. The Rock thought he was greater than everyone else. He thought he could throw his weight around. He thought that he could somehow shift it into a no oversights match and thought he could work a song. He thought he could work a song box as a weapon, Pat McAfee says. And if he did work that song box as a weapon, then he would have been the winner of the match, and The Rock would have won the match, and Godzilla would have lost the match, Pat McAfee's Wade Barrett says. Alright, we'll take it all away now with Bob Walk. Thank you, Tony Schiavone. I'm going to be talking with The Rock here today on Monday Night Raw or Monday Night Raw. Alright, Rock. You came out to shame Father Yule, got into a match with Godzilla, and you lost him. You know what? Varia should be lucky I don't fire her. Godzilla, King of the Fiends, I could care less. I know if I hit him with that song box, the match would have been over. And Bob Walk, why do you got tape around both your arms? Because both my arms broke off, and the over sticky ooze couldn't hold them on. That just looks odd. Whatever. Anyway, yeah, Godzilla, you may have won this match with me. Big deal. And Father Yule, me and you aren't gonna be done. You started something, Godzilla. You started a war. Like we did back in 20-0. You started up again, my friend. And Father Yule, I'm gonna get my hands on you before Yule ends. Well, that would be hard to do unless you want to come after him tomorrow in NXT and then on Dynamite or Might. But that would be it. He might be on Impact or Hit, but then Jesus will be with him too, so yeah, I think I can get my hands on him before he leaves on Wednesday. And then he'll learn not to get in the way of the last head. Bob Rock got out of the way. Rock, you know I don't like hitting folks. You know I'm against that kind of a shit. But your mindset, your stand is shameful. And you need to stop behaving like, what did Pat McAfee call you? A snakehead? Well, looks like it is all the time we got here for TWF Monday Night Raw, or Monday Night Raw. I, Tony Schiavone, with Pat McAfee and Wade Barrett. We hope you like Monday Night Raw or Monday Night Raw, and we'll see you tomorrow for NXT.